Hello, I'm Oliver and welcome to What's On, the show that brings you the best events happening in and around Sheffield. Once again, myself and the team here at What's On have searched high and low to find the best gigs, shows and events that you lovely people just simply have to know about it. Later on tonight's show, I'll be speaking to Fraser Wilson from Music in the Round, a charitable organisation based in Sheffield that exists to promote the best in international chamber music. But first tonight, let's have a look at who's strumming, singing or spinning what and where in our live music section. The Washington Festival is upon us, ladies and gentlemen, and you know what that means. Absolutely awesome music to the highest order. The festival, also known as the Great Unwashed, is held at a legendary Sheffield venue which will be hosting a mammoth festival thanks to a number of outside promoters whose musical tastes include garage rock, psychedelia, ska and funk. The festival runs from the 2nd of April to the 5th of April. Seriously guys, absolutely brilliant that, and they do a pretty decent beer too, one of my favourite watering holes. At the Greystones, Skinny Living will be playing, described as a band of superb musicians with stunning vocals. They'll be a band that you'll want to go and see. The Wakefield Band, made up of vocalists, songwriters and musicians from an array of musical backgrounds and influences, recently supported Jake Bugg on his arena tour. They are also lined up to play the upcoming Isle of Wight Festival, no less. Their recently released single, Mother Earth, hit number 82 in the charts. Their musical style is acoustic, easy listening, with a touch of soul and blues. I think I'll definitely have a nosy down on that one. Probably take my mate Ian Schofield, he'll love it. The gig is on Saturday, 4th of April at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are £7 in advance, £9 on the door. The Rocking Chair welcomes the Bridlington-born duo Seafret to the stage on Friday, 3rd of April. Combining punk and bluegrass influences, this two-piece band's name comes from the rolling mists that come in off the North Sea in the summertime, as well as being a pun on the guitar fretboard. Tickets are priced at £6 and doors open at 7:30 p.m. So that's what's happening on the music side of things. Now let's take a look at our arts and culture. Now, does anybody remember the Merlin Theatre? Well, it's back, based in the beautiful grounds of Tintagel House in the Kenwood Park area of Nether Edge. The Merlin Theatre is to reopen this autumn. In the 70s, the Merlin Theatre earned a reputation as a leading innovator in participatory theatre, regularly receiving reviews in the national press. It was a much-loved centre for performance arts, education, visual art, craft, festival and community life. However, the theatre unfortunately had to close in 2011 due to flood damage. Its return is on the horizon and very welcome it will be too. And if ancient local history is your thing, the new exhibition Life on the Edge at Weston Park Museum could be for you. From the remains of long extinct woolly rhinos, the mammoths, to the tools and weapons used to hunt them, Life on the Edge will explore the close relationship between the Ice Age people and their environment. The exhibition runs from now until September and entry is free. Now, I like a bit of art. I also love the Rolling Stones, but which one is better? Well, the two become one with Ronnie Wood's art exhibition, which is currently on show right here in Sheffield at the Meadowhall Castle Galleries. The works by the guitar legend depicting the band were all painted while the group were rocking all over the world on a Free for Fans tour last year. So plenty going on already to pique your interest. Now, we're all for great community projects here at Sheffield Live, and earlier today I went down to see Kieran Ancliffe, manager of CADS near Kelham Island, to check out what the Space Cadets scheme is all about. Here's what he had to say. Hello, welcome to What's On. I'm here with Kieran Ancliffe, who is the operations manager for an amazing art space called CADS. Kieran, CADS, tell us about what CADS is.
Well, basically CADS is an arts charity and multi-purpose sort of art space. We mainly provide studio space, but then we also have lots of different spaces for sort of hiring out for exhibitions, rehearsals, events and things like that. We've got about 6 buildings around the city, mainly around the Shells-Moor, Kelham Island area, and with a couple in the city centre as well.
And what sort of people come here? What kind of artists? Music, or are they just a general?
It's a big mixture of stuff really. We have a fairly sort of flexible policy on who can get a studio. So we've got everyone from musicians, artists. We've got a guy who does robotics. We've got some people that do like an escape game. So yeah, it's a big quite a range of people. Yeah, the robotics guy.
Nice one.
It's little sort of animatronic toys and stuff. It's brilliant.
And I know that you run a lot of events here. I've been to 1 or 2 parties here before, but I was rather drunk to remember what this place was like. It's awesome. It just keeps going on. What sort of events do you have here?
We've got all sorts really. The main events are run by a company called The Night Kitchen, which is our sort of club brand. And so they do all kinds of mainly sort of late night dance music-y things.
Yeah.
And then we also do some of our own events, which tend to be a bit more sort of daytime focused. And so we do a blues night with blues and real ale. We do that every now and again.
My kind of night.
Yeah. So the next one of those is coming up the 1st of May and the 2nd of May for the Philadelphia Blues Festival. And yeah, and that's got loads of local real ales, loads of local blues bands and stuff, and it's usually a really good event.
Make sure you let me know when that's on. I'll be there.
Shall do.
So there's something going on here, isn't there? Tell us about Trading Arm. What's Trading Arm all about?
Well, basically, we set up a trading arm to handle the more sort of business areas of the charity, and so all of the studio rentals, most of the sort of money coming in, and that's allowed us to separate the charity part of the business off to concentrate more on our sort of charitable projects like Space Cadets and some of the other things that we've got going on.
And the charity, how does that work? Who's it aimed at, etc.?
The charity, basically, the aim is to provide affordable workspace, whether that be studio space or sort of one-off hire space, and also to increase the sort of enjoyment of the arts and promotion of the arts to the general public.
And Space Cadets, you mentioned Space Cadets, just then tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, well, Space Cadets is a programme that we've opened a couple of years ago, and we basically found that although most of our studio spaces are full most of the time, we tend to have 1 or 2 that are empty at any one time. And we thought that's just a bit of a waste, really. And so what we started doing is for worthwhile projects, we've said that people can have 6 weeks free in a studio as long as they sort of couldn't afford it otherwise. If they've got a 6-week-long project which they really want to do, but the only thing holding them back is no space and no money.
Yeah.
And so we've got a couple of people in at the moment doing it. We've got a project called Free Hands, which is happening every Wednesday, and is basically aimed at people suffering from anxiety and depression to just sort of on a very soft touch basis just come in, work on sort of arts, crafts, get to know each other and things like that, and just give them something nice and relaxing to do every week.
We had a look earlier, we saw some absolutely fantastic sculptures that were around here. Are those the sort of guys who've been doing that?
No, they actually came from an exhibition either last year or the year before by a guy called Simon Kent. And so, yeah, he's done all of those with chainsaws. He even did a live show where he's setting them on fire and all sorts. So, yeah, definitely look up Simon Kent if you get a chance.
So I'm an artist, I'm looking for some space. I want to come to CADS. How do I approach CADS? How do I get involved with that?
Well, we have a very easy application process compared to a lot of other places. Just send us an email, let us know what you want. As long as everything that you're doing is broadly creative, then we're quite flexible as to what it is. We don't ask you to bring in a portfolio or sort of judge the quality of your artwork or anything. None of us are artists, so we're not in any place to be judging, really.
I was talking to one of your colleagues earlier. We were talking about people who are artists but need a bit more of an officey type of space, like a film, like maybe a film company or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you cater for that sort of stuff as well?
We do, yeah. I mean, some of our spaces over in the city centre are a bit more on an office basis. We do have a couple of sort of quite good officey spaces here as well. But we do find that once people sort of take the step into the sort of professional world, then there is quite a lot of crossover between more office stuff and more creative things. So yeah, we're trying to cater for that at the moment. Well,
I can highly recommend this place. It just keeps going on and on and on. It's the biggest place ever, so it's awesome. Kieran, thanks very much. Cheers. Nice one. Some good stuff going on there down at CADS. Now let's look at what's going off elsewhere in our communities. Now, if you're anything like me, you will have eaten your own body weight in chocolate by Easter Monday. So, what better way to burn off a few calories than running alongside a river like a lunatic cheering on a plastic duck? The annual Endcliffe Park Duck Race takes place on Easter Monday from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. The event saw a fantastic turnout last year, so you'd be quackers to miss it. Hey, I see that one. On Wednesday, the 8th of April, and Thursday, the 9th of April, Worlow Hall Farm Trust opened their doors to the public to witness the miracle of life that is Easter lambing. There will be oohs and ahs aplenty as the newborn lambs are bound playfully around the ship farm, and there will be plenty of opportunities to ask questions and see all the other animals Worlow Farm has to offer. The event takes place from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on both days. The 4th is strong in April as Magna Science and Adventure Centre opens its doors for the 2015 Yorkshire Cosplay Con on Saturday the 4th of April. They'll have everything from Star Wars, comic book heroes, Doctor Who, anime, Lego and Disney. After egos and heroes are all welcome, so if the spandex is starting to pinch a little bit nowadays, you can also go dressed in your civvies. This fun, packed family event runs from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now, let's take a look at what's happening in the sport. Snooker Lupinus returns to Sheffield with the World Snooker 2015 qualifiers at Ponds Forge International Sports Centre, which runs from Wednesday the 8th of April to Thursday 16th of April. Tickets for the qualifiers are now on sale at the cost of just £10 for an all-day ticket and can be booked from www.civtickets.com. With a huge weekend of footy action ahead, with Sheffield Wednesday looking for a home victory on Saturday against Huddersfield Town. 3 points will see the Owls mathematically safe from relegation, up the Owls. Meanwhile, Sheffield United will be looking to bounce right back into the playoff race with the Derby Day victory on Saturday, away at Barnsley. It's the first of a Derby doubleheader for the Blades, with Doncaster Rovers coming to Bramall Lane on Thursday the 7th of April. A massive day out in Barnsley for all you United Arts, so best of luck to them and all our local teams playing this week. Next on the show, I'm going to be chatting to Fraser Wilson from Music in the Round, a charitable organisation based in Sheffield that exists to promote the best in international chamber music and inspire audiences with the unique power and intensity of music played in an intimate setting. Fraser, welcome to the show, mate. Just going to get my questions here for you. Now, Music in the Round has been 30 years in the business, and it's the largest promoter of chamber music outside of London. So we've got one up on London there. So tell us more about it.
Cool. Well, so as you say, 30 years old. We're in fact 31 now, just into the new year.
Oh, right, okay.
And Music in the Round is very much about live music and the way that it can reach people and the things that people can get out of it. So a lot of our concerts take place in the Crucible Studio, which of course is a theatre, very, very popular place for going to the theatre, but actually also a wonderful concert venue. And because it's in the round, that's where the name comes from, people sit facing the musicians, but then with more audience on the other side of them. So it's this really unique way of listening and watching, listening to music. So, so that's a big part of what we do. And as you say, it's international because we work with Ensemble 360, who are our musicians in residence, and they play all over the world. They're wonderful instrumentalists, and they come right here to Sheffield and play here. And then we also run workshops and projects in schools and events for families and all sorts of other things in Sheffield, but across South Yorkshire and across the country as well.
Well, I mean, I've spent 30 years in the business. I've come from I'm hugely passionate about music. So I wish I'd have heard about this all those years ago. And the reason why I love Music in the Round personally is you have a unique way of nurturing talent, don't you? That's quite that's one of your sort of things, isn't it? And your programs are masterclasses, performance, but one unique program you've got is down here is Power Plus.
That's right.
Power Plus, is that right?
Power Plus is right. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us more about that. It Sounds like the kind of thing I want to hear about.
Well, it's an extraordinary project and I think a unique one, actually. We work in partnership with Sheffield Music Hub and schools across the city, alongside the ensemble, to work with GCSE composers, so people who are studying music in schools across the city. And they spend September onwards writing music alongside Robin McEwen, who mentors them wonderfully. And then we have these extraordinary days. We've just had one last week, actually, last week in the Upper Chapel in Sheffield, where the composers and their parents and their schools come and meet the ensemble. And then we have a day of workshops where the pieces are discussed and tweaked and honed, and also recorded professionally as well. So the composers end up with this amazingly high quality recording of the music being played brilliantly, which of course they can use for their coursework submissions, for their portfolios. So it's wonderful. It means that they have the thrill of working with really top class players.
Sounds fantastic.
It's very inspiring.
Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. Now, speaking of nurturing talent, I want to talk to you about Music Box. Got to talk about Music Box. Tell us about Music Box.
Well, Music Box is a programme that we run for very young children and their families from the age of 2 upwards. And we open up the Crucible studio and we fill it with instruments and really inspiring workshop leaders. So it's full of colour and light and noise. It's a very energetic place. And it's really a place in which those children can take their first musical steps. So there are songs and games and actions. They all get to join in and have a go, play drums and ring bells and all kinds of things. So it's a really lovely way of showing them that music is this thing that they can access, that can be so inspiring. It can play a really big part in their lives. And their grown-ups get to come along as well. They join in and they sit round and they're part of it as well. So it's a really good way of people taking just their first unthreatening steps into music.
You know what, we're out of time. Fraser. I know I would have loved to talk to you about more. It sounds absolutely fantastic, but I wish you all the best, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers for coming. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
So that was Fraser Wilson from Music in the Round. If you want to know more about their upcoming events, have a look at the Music in the Round website at www.musicintheround.co.uk. Well, that's it for tonight's show. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can let us know about your events or what's happening in your area. Just send us an email to whatson@sheffieldlive.org or get in touch via Facebook and Twitter at Sheffield Live or use the hashtag whatsonsheffield. Tomorrow we'll be back with more details about what's happening in and around Sheffield. Coming up next on Sheffield Live with our daily news programme, so do stay with us for that. Thanks again for watching. I'll be back next week with another Packed to the Rafters show, making sure that you're firmly in the know. For now, keep it Sheffield, keep it live.